everyone, welcome to Zion Canada. I'm your host, Jesse Betteridge. So this is the podcast that typically focuses on the connections between anime and Canadian media, and we're exploring more of the Canadian media side, specifically this episode again. A couple months ago, I had animator Christian Loeb on to talk about how the animation industry in Canada, for the most part, is mostly utilized for outsourcing projects from other countries, despite the fact that we have an enormous amount of very good creators doing a lot of creative heavy lifting right here. And we highlighted this quite a bit in the case of K-pop Demon Hunters, which is, it's an American production, but it had a Canadian director and had virtually all of its creative work done in Canada. And at the same time, we have a lot of talk going on with our politicians and our pundits among the media about this need for Canada to create nation building projects and to reimagine our economy. But missing from all this talk is the potential role of cultural industries. Most importantly, cartoons. Overall, we're not talking about that enough, but we're talking about that today, yet again. And I brought someone on in this episode who I believe has a lot to say on this subject and just about animation in Canada in general. A legend of the Maritime animation scene, showrunner, the founder of Fatkat Studios, founder of Loogaroo Studios. It's Gene Fowler. Gene, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So, Gene, you got a lot of stories, but can you tell us just a little about your background, how you got started in animation, general career trajectory, your history, just founding these two studios?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm from Miramichi, New Brunswick, a small lumber town in northern New Brunswick, and I've always known that I was going to have my own animation studio. I've always known I was going to be a cartoonist. My parents ran a restaurant and motel campground here in Miramichi in the summer months, and then we would pack up an old Chevy van and we would hightail it down to Florida every winter. And while we're in Florida, as a small child, I would go to Disney World every single time. And the magic of it all, I just knew. And so I started drawing. My father got me into flip books, and essentially I used all my mother's smut novels, all her Daniel Steele romance novels as flip books, and I animated in the margins. And that's how I got started. And
no influence on the content, just purely the paper.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Just I had to draw and do this and create this magic. And so I always kind of knew that that's what I was going to do. So I, failed my way through junior high and failed my way through high school and got onto the dean's list in college in animation. I went to NBCC Miramichi, a local community college here that just so happened to have opened up around the same time I graduated high school. And I dove in. I was in the very first class, and I got hired right out of school by an animation studio in Ottawa called Funbag. And they placed me in Halifax at their new digital animation studio called Helix. And Helix was probably the last paper animation studio in Canada. I don't know for sure, but it was definitely the last paper animation studio on the East Coast. It was the only animation studio on the East Coast that did that. I lasted there. I worked on Freaky Stories as a character designer. I worked on. I just missed the Ripping Friends. I wish I would have worked on that. But I think I worked on the Undergrads or the Click. It was called back then. And God, I can't even remember what else I worked on. But it was all like For Better For Worse and a Christmas special or two, and all on paper, all flipping paper, man, and doing posings and layout and stuff like that. And they gave me a 3-year deal, and the fucking thing lasted 10 months. And then I was laid off, and I was like, this is bullshit. This is not how the industry should work. You promise something, you do it. But, I was 22, didn't know my ass from breakfast. And that's kind of good. Ignorance is a blissful thing, truly. So I was laid off, and I was like, whatever. And I got myself a new PC. It's like a Pentium 133, it's nothing back then. Or it was probably better than that, but that was around 2000 by then. But anyways, so I put all my artwork on my computer, and back then there was a website called portfolio.ca, And I loaded all my work up on portfolio.ca and I waited. And I tell you, it was about a week because the internet was hot back then. This was like 1999. And the internet was hot back then, and people were just starting to wake up and put their stuff online. And I got an email from this guy in Carlsbad, California, and it was like, "Hey, Gene, I saw your work online. Looks great. How much for some character designs?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. How about $1,000?" And he goes, "American?" I was like, "Absolutely." And he goes, "Okay, check's in the mail." And I was like, "Okay, well, whatever. This is never going to happen." Anyways, the next day, the FedEx guy shows up with a check for $1,000. And I'm like, this is awesome. This freelance shit ain't nothing. Like, let's do it, right? Like, let's go digital. Let's make this happen. And so I did the character designs. It was for this shitty little 3-minute script on sexual harassment. It was like a training film, and he loved it. And he said, okay, all right. Now you make Flash cartoons, so how much for a Flash cartoon? Here's, you got the scripts. What do you think? And I was like, oh shit, let's go for it. The guy had $1,000. He didn't even sneeze at that. Let's see what 10 grand can do. So I said 10 grand. He goes, okay, check's in the mail. And I'm like, all right. And that's probably never going to happen. And then this freaking check showed up the next day for 10 grand. And I had to fucking figure out what a Flash cartoon was, man. I had no idea how to make it. I was a paper boy. I worked on paper. So I had a buddy of mine, Lee Tanner was his name, and he knew how to make Flash cartoons. So I was like, dude, you got to show me how to do this. This could be a real thing. And so me and him and a bunch of other buddies, Rod Amador from Big Jump Productions, Murray Bain from Copernicus in Halifax. I don't think Rod's with Big Jump anymore, but he was one of the founders. And actually, I was a founder of Big Jump too back in the day, but nobody knows that. Anyways, all these boys and I and a couple others, we made this training film in Flash. And this guy calls me up. He goes, I loved it. It was fantastic. Here's a couple more. And he gave, 10 grand a pop. Check came the very next day. And, for the spring of 2000 or 1999, I can't remember when it was, me and all my buddies that were laid off, we learned how to make Flash cartoons. And after the spring, after like 3 of these cartoons were done, the guy calls me up. He goes, okay, Gene, you passed the test. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? He goes, yep, I want you to start a studio. How much? And I'm like, what? And I'm like 21, 22. I'm just, been in the industry for 10 months. And all of a sudden I'm like, I get the opportunity to have my own studio. And I'm like, 50 grand? Check's in the mail. And so it's too big for a check, I guess, or something. But Western Union gave me a call the next day or so. And they're, Mr. Fowler, your money's here. And so I walk up to, I think it was on Roby Street in Halifax, and I'm a skater punk, I got my baggy pants on and my wallet chain and, my fucking grungy outfit and stuff. And I pick up $50,000 US out of this fucking Western Union. It turns out to be more like 78 or 80 or something like that because of the exchanger. And I have it in cash in my pocket as I'm walking downtown Halifax. Like I'm 22 with 80 grand in my pocket. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what is going on? Like, is this how easy it is in this world? Like, do you just say yes and figure out how to do it? Like, I don't know. And so my friends and I, we started the studio. We called it Fatkat because this motherfucker had tons of cash. And it seemed to, just pay for whatever we needed. And so he fired up the scripts. And he got some bigwig animation writers to write these scripts. And what we did for about 4 years, I think, from 99 through to 2003, was make Flash animated interactive training films for Fortune 500 companies. The company was called Trainingscape. And we made training films for Nike and Boeing and Hasbro. And there was facilitated training going on within these companies from Trainingscape, but we were providing the icing on the cake, the long format training film that was interactive. So it would first start as an instructional designer would would take apart a published author's book on, say, rewards and recognition for business owners. And then he would weave that into a script, and then he would put characters in it, and there would be love triangles and this and that, and character plots and all sorts of shit. And yeah, these training films went off, man. People love them.
And
And this
they were all for professional development, not like union busting or anything.
no, just corporate training.
General corporate training, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they were flash animated training films for these big corps, and we hired, like, we couldn't do them fast enough, and so I hired, I think, oh my god, it must have been 40, 50 people. Like, we were, like, within 2 years we were in 3 locations in Halifax, like, and we hired like almost an entire class from Sheridan one year, I think 2001 or 2002. Like, it was fantastic. And all the flash animation production techniques that took Canada by storm in the from around 2004 through 2010, they were all done at Trainingscape in Halifax. Like, all this shit we figured out at Fatkat. Like, Murray Bain, game Copernicus, like, they still make the cartoons that we make, or that we made back then. And Loogaroo, and when that business went under, and I went home to lick my wounds and start again, we used all the same techniques again. And then, Rod took off to Ottawa. He started Big Jump, and Jerry Popovich from Mercury, he gave me a call one day, and he was like, "How do you do this shit, man?" And so Mercury got off the ground using our techniques too. Like, we exploded onto the scene with this fucking shit. And when I came back after that business went sideways, one day this guy, the same guy from California, he called me. He called me up and he said, "Gene, we're done. That's it. Pack her all up. Send me all the files." And I'm like whatever. And it was bad back then. Like, he missed a couple months of payroll, and like everybody was looking at me like I was the devil. I'm like, I started the company. I don't fucking own it. But it went bad. It went sideways, and I kept all the files. I was like, go fuck yourself. You ain't getting nothing. Pay up. Like, you owe us wages. So I'm keeping these files until you do. And he called the cops on me, and RCMP came and took the servers that I had in possession, and then about 3 months later, I bought them all back for 10 grand at an auction, because I'm like, this is $5 million worth of content, $5 million worth of flash animation. Like, there was 40 training films. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck, I'll just buy them all.
Wow, well played.
Right. And I did, because
Yeah.
I had 10 grand saved, and I'm like, fuck, I'll be the first one there, and nobody knows what's on these computers. And I showed up at the auction, and it was just a bunch of fucking nerds looking for gaming PCs to tear apart. And so I grabbed it all for 10 grand. I outbid everybody. And I still have everything. Like, nobody came after me after that. And I still got these fucking 40 training films in my in one of my binders and DVDs. But so that company went to shit, and it laid off everybody. Fuck my wife, all my friends. It all sucked. But Mercury Filmworks came out of it. Copernicus came out of it. Big Jump came out of it. Loogaroo came out of it. So good things did come out of it. So I moved back to Miramichi, and to lick my wounds and stuff. And then I started getting into television, and then because we were the only crew that kind of did this kind of stuff, I just started selling ourselves as a flash animation service house. And I'm no good at books. I'm no good at marketing or sales or that kind of stuff. I'm only good at design and stuff. And I have a way with words. So I hired myself a sales guy. I hired myself an accountant that had a major in small business. She was a CA. And we started Fatkat over again. And I was like, let's fucking roll. We're gonna take it on. And from 2000, I think it was 2003 to 2009, we grew like 1,400%. We had over 100 animators in my little town of Miramichi. I was collecting glass and brass from all the politicians who thought I was just a fucking megastar. And after a while, you start to believe them too. You start wearing weird fucking jackets and leather fucking shoes with embroidered roses on them. And I didn't have a Porsche or anything, but I had a big fucking building on the hill in a corner office, and I thought I was the king of fucking all shit. Um, and we were doing shit anywhere between $4 to $8 million a year, just doing like Caillou, and we did Chaotic, we did a bit of Family Guy, we did a show called Super Normal, we did another show called Super Strikers that went fucking sideways on us, but whatever. We did a ton of commercial work. And then in 2007, we got a big job from New York City from a guy named Larry Schwartz, and big deal. Like I think it was an $8 million deal, and we had to put like a bunch of people on it, right? So we had to hire like another 80 people, and we hired them from all over the world, Morocco, fucking Japan, Iran, like everywhere, and we got these waivers, so that because we couldn't find workers, and so we got these government waivers to bring in foreigners to do the jobs, and it was great. We had a great cultural space, and our team was wicked, and we were all pals, and we are all still pals. Um, and then in 2008, the housing market went to shit, and the fucking iPhone came out, and it was like overnight, like the phone stopped ringing, and all the eyeballs went to the phone, and people stopped spending on TV. Like GMC pulled all their ads or some shit, I can't remember, but it was like people overnight stopped spending money on animation in particular. And we finished our show. And part of our problem was that we had a big $1 million DVD deal for this show that we had with YTV, and it was with YTV, it was with the BBC, it was with fucking ABC Australia, I think.
This was Three Delivery.
Free
Was the
delivery,
this
yeah.
this is the show I described on Loogaroo's website as as the studio killer.
And it was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. Rick Morrison from Funbag. I got a chance to hire that motherfucker back. He hired me, gave me my first job. And so I hired him as a storyboard artist. And because he's fucking Rick Morrison. And I hired his brother Corey and Rod Amador again. And because I needed a board team, and I wanted a fucking solid board team. And so I hired those guys, and I was like, okay, you guys can do all the boards for the show. And let's start a studio, and I'll feed you the work, and we'll kick it off. And they were like, fine. And we called it Big Jump. And so I gave them a server and a couple computers or some shit, and they went back to Ottawa, and they started working on the show for us, and they started Big Jump. And Rick looked at me, he goes, fuck, Gene, this is a studio killer, this is going to kill your shop. And I was like, nah, we'll fucking handle it, we'll pull through, we'll get right. Fucking just nuts. We were so behind. There was no reuse in the show. It's all hand drawn fucking kung fu show. Like,
And
even if it
everything
were,
was done in the studio. You weren't outsourcing to
no,
anyone else.
no, it was all done in Canada, and it
Yeah.
was all done, mostly done in New Brunswick, mostly
Yeah.
done in
Yeah.
G. And so, because there was no reuse in backgrounds, the background department, we got way behind. And there was this chick that I just hired. Her name was Jessica Beckett, and she was working on some country crock commercials that we were doing out of Connecticut, I think. And she goes, "I can paint backgrounds, and I'm pretty organized, let me in there," sort of thing. And so she started painting backgrounds, and before you knew it, she had that whole fucking background department just singing, and there was lots of reuse, and we were catching up. And even with the DVD deal that fell through, that $1 million deal, which really hurt our budget, um, we hobbled across that finish line, and we did 26, 22 minute episodes for YTV and all these broadcasters, and we might have lost our shop. Like, I had to close down, and I had to declare personal bankruptcy because I was on all the loans. I was secured personally on all the loans, so I went tits up. But Fatkat didn't go anywhere; it just kind of dissolved, I guess. But we delivered the show, and I cemented my reputation by making sure everybody was paid out and all that, and the show was delivered. And then because I knew, like, a ship that big, when you're burning like $270,000 a month in salaries, because that was the thing with Fat Cat. Like, I hated that I was promised 3 months by my first studio, and then I was laid off or sorry, 3 years, and then I was laid off after 10 months from that very first job. And so I tried to create a place where animators had salaried jobs, not freelance, but salaried jobs, so they didn't have to worry about cranking and making ends meet, they were taken care of. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest salary, but it was salary. Um, and in hindsight, yeah, well, there's a reason fucking animators aren't salaried position, because
It's
you
it's pretty rare. It's pretty
it is,
rare.
yeah, right. And I was really trying to do something
Yeah.
different, but I mean, when you're a salaried person, um, it's 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 no good if you're any good, because the reward is just more work for no extra money. And so my top performers, they like the security, but and they like the culture and all this stuff, but I mean, they could make any serious money. And a lot of the guys, they wanted to make cash, so not everybody stayed, but a lot of people did, right to the fucking bitter end. And we pulled it off, man, because we had a great culture. And I still get people calling me saying that was the best fucking job, man. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of that. And I got clients in Ireland, like Paul from Cartoon Saloon. He still wears his Fatkat hat. And Tony Grillo from Flint Studio, he's in Amsterdam now. He sends me pictures with his kid. He still has his Fatkat gear and stuff. Like it. It was something else. It was really fucking special. And like we had 5 accountants on staff. We had fucking 5 sales guys, and we would go to each conference with these big Fatkat hockey jerseys, and we would rent stretched Hummer limousines and take broadcasters to comedy clubs, of which our writers were the stand-up comedians. Like we were fucking on fire and brilliant.
Yeah,
But
like at that time, I hadn't personally seen much that the studio had made,
mhm,
because well, I was like I was my 20s, so you were
yeah,
mostly making kid stuff. But like the culture, that enthusiastic culture, I saw it popping up in places, and
yeah,
people would. I saw your logo all over the place. People would talk about your studio,
yeah, man.
and I mean, like that. It sounds like yeah, you established a hell of a culture there.
Oh, dude, we were the
Yeah.
first. We were the first studio to start blogging.
Yeah, I found some of your a lot of that stuff still up, and I found
Oh
I
yeah,
was reading through some of it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It was crazy, man. Like I felt pretty invincible.
yeah.
But
I know there was at the end of the studio's life, there was one thing I don't see brought up very much, which is the Space Knights Go pilot.
oh, right, yeah, that's too bad. And I see that. I see the Space Knights go now. There was one of the pilots
It was for
was about
the Detour pilot project for
that's
Teletoon, and
right.
they were trying to get original adult content made late at night, and that wasn't that adult stuff wasn't Fat Cat's forte at that time. But
No,
you guys did this kind of Power Rangers parody thing.
yeah,
I'll confess, they had people vote for the different shows in the pilot, and this is what Forget About It. Eventually, that's the show that eventually came out. That won apparently,
yeah. Vince,
and I'll tell you straight up, I voted for Angora Napkin in that
yeah.
one. but Space Days Go, okay, I'll say I could tell the folks at the studio were having fun with that one.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
probably had a little bit too much fun. But one of the we did 2 pilots, and back then, like I think we got like 250 grand to make those 2 pilots. Like that's obscene now, like obscene. But
Yeah,
that was
that's that was from Teletoon, like
yeah,
entirely. Wow.
yeah, yeah. It was crazy. It was like that. It was. I can't remember. I could be talking out my ass here.
I've heard a lot of stories about Teletoon. So, a lot of them. That's probably one of the more generous ones. So
Yeah,
it's surprising.
but the second episode of those 2 pilots was Space Knights versus the Beta Men, and I'll send you a link. Um, the Beta Men were Canadian superheroes, and there was this fucking Sasquatch. There was a French smoking lumberjack. There was
Yeah, it's Alpha Flight.
yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah,
essentially right. There's an
yeah,
indigenous dude,
yeah.
and then there's Captain Canuck. And now I see the very same show is done by what Atomic or something like that.
Yeah, there's something almost identical that I think
It's
it's on Crave right now.
identical. I couldn't believe it. It's fucking identical. Oh, but I mean that's how it goes, Like
Yeah.
I made a show back in like 2004, I think, called Salmonella, and it was these 2 kids that were born in a petri dish, and they were evil, and they were causing havoc and shit like that. And then a few years later, I think Barry put out a show called oh, I can't remember. It's 2 twins. It was just the same show. can't remember what it was called, but I was like, it doesn't matter like how good your fucking ideas are. It really doesn't. Like you can have the best idea in the world, but if you can't execute it, if
Oh
you
yeah.
can't get it done, it's already in the ether. It will be done again, and it will be done by somebody. So it's really about like getting your shit out as fast as you can, even if it's garbage. Like you can always like tweak it and make it better later. But
We all have ideas. You just got to get it out there. You got to
absolutely,
grind it out every morning for an hour at a cafe. If that's
yeah,
all the time you have,
right.
just yeah.
So we knew like I knew like a year before Fatkat closed that Fatkat was going to close. There's no way we could survive. I was like in debt like over $3 million. Government fucking secured loans and shit like that. All like we just weren't going to make it. And so I was like, okay, so that's going to happen. I might as well open up a new company under my wife's name and start funneling new contracts through that because there's just no way it's gonna. There's no way. It'd take me fucking 20 years to pay off $3 million. There's just no way. And the economy went to shit, and everything went, and people went to the iPhone, and the whole industry changed. So I gave up. Finished the show, mind you, but and finished with integrity.
And
But
a lot of changes in government financing as well. Or sorry, a lot of changes in government funding as well with
oh
the
yeah,
government at the time.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started Loogaroo, and we just started funneling new projects into it, and again the same, but no salaried employees, none, zero, not even me, not even,
Mm.
and that girl that fixed the project, the 3 delivery project, Jessica Beckett, she was the first one that I hired. And well, I didn't quite hire her. I was like, she kind of talked me into, keep going, like I'm with you. So um and she believed in me, and she's like, I'll stand by your side, man. I know that it won't be any money there for a little while, but let's just go, let's just do it. And so she handled production for me because she saved that last project, and she's still with me. It's been fucking 17 years, 18 years, and she's my rock, man. She's there's nobody I trust more than Jessica Beckett to run a show. And since then, like we've like just currently, even now, we're on our 10th straight year of back to back to back to back series. Um, another we had a small gap between the third and fourth season of the show that we do for our partners in Manitoba. The show's called La Brigade. It's for CBC, and we have a small gap. So this fall we had to start laying off people for the first time in 10 years. So it works, like her believing in me, us changing the model. Um, and you know what? No sales guys, no accountants, no HR, no coordinators, no fucking secretary, no personal assistants, just Jessica Beckett and Gene Fowler. And we fucking made it happen, man. We had lots of people come and go over the years, but Jess handles production for TV, and she's probably the most. Oh, she's the biggest hidden gem when it comes to animation production in Canada, maybe in Canada, because man, she runs a tight ship. The budgets are always on. We always make money. We're always on schedule. The broadcasters want to talk to Jessica Beckett, so it's fucking. I'm so blessed, man. And I give her
On
whatever
time
she
and on
wants.
budget.
Oh
Those are the
yeah,
best things to be.
yeah. Well, and that's I live by it. No funny business, no fucking around. Just plan the work and work the plan, and on time and on budget. And that's how we've rolled for the last 17 years at Loogaroo, and we've been able to make money and be profitable. And we don't give our fucking tax credits or our labor rebates that everybody, all the animation studios get. We don't give them to our clients. We keep those. We
Oh.
we absolutely refuse to give up our labor rebate. Um, and I did one time. I gave it up because this client said, "Well, you're not going to get the gig if you don't get it." And I said, "Okay, okay." So they wanted an $80,000 kickback on the project. The series was, I think it was like $700,000 to make. I can't remember how many episodes we did. There were 7-minute episodes, 11-minute episodes. I can't remember how many we made. It wasn't a big show, but they wanted 80 grand as a kickback. And I was like, this fucking cookie jar center old school bullshit, pay to play. I fucking
Yeah.
hate this stuff. I
Yeah.
fucking hate it, because New Brunswick money should stay in New Brunswick for New Brunswick talent and New Brunswick ideas and New Brunswick development. And they were like, well, if you don't give us the 80 grand, then you're not going to get the gig. So I was like, fuck it. Okay, fine. You'll get your 80 grand. So we finished season 1 of the show. And for that 80 grand, we got the rights to the show, or the rights to season 1, at least. And we finished the show. They loved it. And they came back for a second season, and they wanted the same financial deal. And I was like, show me your cost report. Show me your audited cost report for the show, please. And they were like, oh, okay, sure. And so we looked at it, and they got $1.4 million from broadcaster and CMF and all that kind of, their financial structure was 1.4. They paid us $700,000 to do from storyboards to final cut. They took half the money to do scripts and voice tracks and sound design and music. Half the fucking budget. Anyways, I lost it. I was like, and they were disrespectful, really disrespectful. A client. I really did not like them, and neither did Jess. And they didn't include us on anything. And the show was a New Brunswick created show, and it was I designed it, and developed it here, and we made it all here. And they treated us like shit. And I was like, no, I said, no, fuck it, you ain't getting nothing. And they were like, well, that's what we need. I'm like, you don't need nothing. You get $800,000 fucking out of the budget to do what? You fucking gouging shits. And by the way, I own the rights to season 1, which means I own the fucking art. And so they're like, okay, you get season 2. So I got season 2.
But I think we've hit on something with definitely a key thing with the tax credits and the way
Right.
You use that to finance your projects, and the relation and how it factors into your relationship with different clients and the people you're producing the work for.
Right.
I mean, I wanted to know just more about that balance
Sure.
with your studios in Loogaroo specifically. If there is any problem with the greater Canadian animation industry, like how would you define that? I'm sure you can think of a lot.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm a catfish. I'm probably the fucking catfish of the entire industry. I'm the lowliest fucking bottom feeder. There's probably one guy. That's fucking worse than me. And that's probably Humana in fucking Nova Scotia. But I like Adam just fine. But he's when he started up Point, he have a fucking weird reputation, I tell you. And I did too. So I mean, whatever. But I am the catfish of the fucking industry. I got a small shop. We do $1.5 million a year, maybe. I got 15 employees. I had 15 employees. Again, I had to lay them off for the first time in 10 years. It's just this year between projects. But, we're small. We're scrappy. I talk authentically, and I don't give a fuck if you get offended or not. It's just the way I've always been. And I have very little time for foolishness because I'm a fucking self-employed artist. I'm a self-employed animator, and I live in a fucking lumber town in northern New Brunswick. Like, there's no other choice for me here, So it's like, and you know what though? There's no other fucking fish. I'm a big fish in a small pond in New Brunswick, and that's important for me here. But does it mean anything anywhere else? Doesn't mean a goddamn thing. It means I'm in the fucking armpit of Canada, and I probably don't get much work. And you know what? Compared to Mercury or Big Jump or Atomic or Burdell or Copernicus, I don't. But you know what? I got kids to raise, and that's where my shit is right now. That's where my focus is right now. Is like getting my kids up through manhood and animation. I had it with Fatkat. We were the largest studio on the East Coast, on the fucking East Coast, man. Like, we were fucking flying. And I asked myself, like, years ago, I was like, what do I want? Like, do I want to have the largest studio on the East fucking coast again? And just like I did it twice before, I could probably do it the third time if I wanted. or do I want my child to know who I am, and for me to maybe take a break and and focus on getting some life experience instead of just spending all my time behind a fucking keyboard. Because you work 20-hour days. You like, a studio is built on a man's back, you know, and it's, it when you walk into the shop, you know who the fucking workhorses are because they've been wearing the same fucking sweater for 6 months, and they smell like shit. And they look like hell, and those are the people that make your studios, and those are the people that get paid the least. The workhorses, their reward is more work. Um, it's they don't see the financial gain that the producers see, or the partners, or the owners. And that's where the tax credit is. The tax credit is like, sure, it's, yeah, to level the playing field so that and there's regulations in Canada, it's for Canadian content and stuff like that too. So that keeps us working here and not sending all our work to fucking Pakistan or wherever. But I mean, and like, listen, I'm talking from a guy that was thick into it in like the 90s and the early 2000s, and I'm still in it, but like, all my experience and all my industry knowledge is based from all my time in the field from like 1999 through 2012. But like, since 2012, brother, like, I've been at home. I've been raising kids, man. I've been mastering my craft and drawing in sketchbooks again, and painting with acrylics, and my team, Jessica Beckett, and my fucking great fucking team at Loogaroo that have been with me for like, some of these guys have been with me for almost 20 years. Some of them over 24. I think Patrick Prue's been working with me since uh 2004. So yeah, over 20 years. Um yeah, like, I'm so blessed to be in a small town with all these people, and the way I get to stay here is that I don't give the fucking rebate away. Like, these people, they they work their tails off, they crank on these fucking shows, they work their nights, they work their fucking weekends for Warner Brothers, for Teen Titans Go or whatever the fuck,
Mm-hmm.
and they work their fucking tails off, and they don't see that reward. It's the producers that see it. And you know what? When in the case of Warner Brothers, or the other, even medium-sized shops, they suck it all up, and the little studios get nothing, man. It's like a happy, hey, you should be happy. You should be happy to work in this industry, man. You like, beats digging ditches. Yeah, well, fuck you, because people got kids to raise, man, and people got houses, and we want to have a fucking bit of the Canadian dream too. And so, like, Luger's a little bit different. Luger's a bit different. I don't, well, for my main crew, I do pay salaries, but most of my guys are freelance. Like, we had about 15 guys in house, all salaried, and they can work freelance too. And you know what? For the fucking past I think at least 5 years, we work 4-day work weeks. We never work nights. We never work weekends. We never work fucking holidays. We just don't. And you know why? Because we fucking do the work. We plan the work. We know how to create it. We know how to make it. So we can plan it to the fucking frame. And you know what? We still make the cartoons we made back in 1999 and 2000. They're fucking 3/4 front view shows. We know that. And that's what we're good at. And we can make fucking money at it. And we don't work as hard as the guys at Copernicus do, probably, or we don't fucking pull the crazy fucking hours that guys in Vancouver do, because we don't have to. And it's fucking New Brunswick. So, we still have, like, you can still get a house for 150 grand out here, it's not crazy.
150
Well,
grand. Wow.
I live in a geodesic dome in the woods. And when I bought this house the first time, before I had to pay out my equity to an ex-wife, I bought it for 150 grand. It's a fucking great, awesome place in the woods, and you can have a life like that. It's more expensive now because the floodgates of immigration have been opened on this country, and corporations are buying up houses, and blah blah blah. Anyway, um, it's a little harder to have that here in New Brunswick, but you still can. So, being catfish over the industry has its fucking benefits too. Catfish live a long fucking time, and I'm an artist too, and so's Jess. And when it all fades away, we're still gonna be around, and we're still gonna be around because we keep the tax credit. the two of us, in the shop, and we keep it so that we can fucking float our crews in between shows. We just haven't been able to do that this time. But you use it for the fucking people. You put murals on the side of fucking buildings. You invest in musicians so that they can have a music video. You do pilots for people that would otherwise never be able to do a pilot, and it's because you actually believe the show has legs. Like, you pay for this shit. That's what studios need to do. They're not doing that. They're not putting their fucking money into their people. Instead, they've been, you know, letting it get siphoned off into other fucking provinces. I'm pissed off. I'm fucking pissed off. In New Brunswick, in particular, like, we are lousy as fuck. We used to have 40%, 50% of labor on a tax credit. And it was capped at like 500K, and they would never remove it. And they're still like that. I think, all is said and done, if you spend $1 million in New Brunswick, you might get 20%, more like 18. That's the check you're going to get at the end of your project after your cost report and all that stuff. And that it's not bad, but when you lose it because you have to pay for play, which most studios pay for. Yeah, you get the gig, but we need a tax credit. Yeah, we needed to finance it. And then you're left with nothing, and you have to try to fucking make money on a project where it's 90% labor. And if you're not planning it, and it's these fucking douchebags in LA or something that are planning, or some new fucking intern producers never fucking move the fucking pencil or move the Wacom pen, if you will, or if they're planning the production, then you're fucked. And everybody's a goddamn producer. Like, really? Shut up. You don't know what you're fucking doing when it comes to this stuff. It's the people that actually push it. So that's what Jess and I do. We run the shows. We plan them. I know how to draw, and I only make a certain kind of cartoon. I don't do 3D. Fucking hate it. I kind of like it, actually, but I don't want to make it. And I like puppets and claymation. I like all that shit, but I don't fucking make it. There's no money in it. Like, I'm not working those fucking hours. You crazy? And my crew won't either. It's not like we haven't. But if we plan the work, if we get to plan the work, you don't have to. And the budgets that we get paid at Loogaroo, being a scrappy little fucking pirate ship that we are, they're not. What's that fucking show? Oh, I loved it so much. One of my ex guys did it. Andy Coyle, Hilda, out of Ottawa. Fucking
Yeah,
what a beautiful
I was going to
show.
mention that. That's what he. That's he went on to work on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so many people that were under my wing at Fatkat, man. And listen, these guys, I'm not taking any credit for these guys. Some of these guys, fuck, they were just destined to be awesome. Andrew Embury from I can't remember his company's name. It's like Yellow Lab, I think. Steve Valdez from Echo Bridge. So many, man. I can't even count. I can't even tell you. There's just all these guys went on to do such great things. Andy Coyle, like, what a superstar. Erica Worthylake is his wife. They met at Fat Cat. They're just like the best in the world. These fucking people, right? Like, blow me away. But we'll never get those budgets. And Andy and his fucking crew, like, they have such high standards, man. They deserve the budgets. But I bet you Andy didn't get a big fucking cut of that delicious fucking tax credit at the end of all their fucking enriched fucking stacked fucking budgets. Like, no way. And you know what? Like, I feel bad. I feel bad for the boys that are still fucking cranking and working nights and shit like that. Like, didn't have to be that way, But you know what? I recognized that early, because I'd worked 20-hour days, man, forever. And you can't be fooled when you know how to make the shit. And it's just sad. Before I get into like other shit, it's sad that the guys that actually do it don't fucking stand up for themselves. And who could you? Why could you? Or how could you anyway? When you're in big city centers like that with all these big powerful fucking dudes that are all plugged into policymakers and regulation makers, and they know all the fucking lawyers, and like, I can't compete against fucking, forget about it, Vince Commissaro. I can't fucking compete against Clint Eland, like, in his team of executive assistants. Like, I don't give a fuck. And I don't fucking want to. Like, enjoy your Porsches, enjoy the fucking islands. I don't give a fuck. I'm here, I'm raising kids, and I have just enough. And my craft is good, and my employees, of course, everybody deserves more money, And I think if this fourth season of Brigade is our last fucking show, and who knows, man, like in this fucking environment, I've talked to a few people, man, and a lot of people they haven't had any shows triggered in 18 months. Like it's a fucking, I don't know what's going on, but it's a bit of money grab. This whole industry is a fucking money grab, and it's not right. It's not being regulated right, and I don't have the answers.
Yeah.
I, I don't have the answers for capitalism. I don't have the answers for opportunists that hide behind corporations. I don't. Um, but I kind of wish there was like a cap on like capitalism, like 500 million. You make 500 million. It's like, yeah, you won capitalism. Very good. Here's a trophy now.
That would solve a lot of problems.
Right. All the
But
money
yeah,
now goes to the people.
we got an industry. It's so entrenched. We have these problems are so entrenched, so institutionalized. Like these big companies, like they've set their ways on doing things in a certain way, and having like regulatory capture to keep getting away with it. It's just
Oh,
like
dude.
how do you break it? I don't know.
Well, it's everywhere though. Like the
Yeah.
executive of Teletoon would move on and become the new vice president at I don't know, Portfolio, and then and then another person would move from like CBC and go work for fucking Vince at Nine Story, and like, and all these people would just move, and the network would stay the same, and deals would still get made that way. You know, fucking animation studio owners that would make sure the broadcaster's kid gets to go to the Bigfoot fucking monster truck show and diamond necklaces show up, and there's a lot of fucking around too. Like I'm not afraid to say it, man. Like I was disgusted back around like 2007 through 2012, I think, or even earlier, like 2005 or whatever. I think I started going to conferences in 2004. You quickly see the fucking sex circle. Like a lot of people fucking around at these fucking things. And it's fucking gross, man. And I didn't want to be a part of it, to tell you the truth. Um, and all the money and all the business went to the people that would play ball, and give up their rebates, and that's just how it's done, man. All the money flows to the top, and I'm like, there's easier ways to make money than that, and you can just put your fucking foot down and let the chips fall where it may. And I've always felt that's been my way. um, when Fatkat fell, I was publicly ostracized in my own community. Everybody thought I was just, come from away that would just leave town and all this stuff. But I fucking stayed in my little town. I fucking took it right on the goddamn chin. And I walk around and, nobody asks me for a job anymore. It used to be the common fucking thing. Hey, Gene, how many you got working for you now? Here's a job. You got a job for me? And all that shit. And yeah, I look like a fucking long haired hippie now. Nobody asks me for shit. And I love that. And I love that here, you know but I don't know how to fix the industry. Like when your studio gets big enough, you're naturally going to fucking uh, improvise and innovate, and you're going to find easier ways to make shit. So like, as far as I'm concerned, Nelvana had Toon Boom. Toon Boom was forced on the fucking on the market, on the industry, on the supplier base, through great studio work, mind you, great artists, mind you, of course, at the helm of it. But as far as I'm concerned, like Nelvana, Toon Boom, Chorus, YTV back in the day or whatever it was fucking called. I don't even know what it's all called now. And I don't even know who owns what anymore. I'm so out of it. Like maybe fucking DHX owns fucking everything now. I don't know. But I know back in the day.
I mean, it's so consolidated now. You can guess between two or three companies, and you probably get it
Right?
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
like it's just fucking gross. But this is the way it goes in capitalism. This is the way this corporate bullshit works. It flows up and it eats itself like a goddamn Fibonacci sequence. It just spirals. And it's crazy that we're even like a part of it, and until only when you realize what you're a part of. Um and so like I got one more fucking little caveat here. I met with YTV. I thought I was hot shit back in 2007. I had a fucking guy named Mick Harrison working for me. He was cartoonist, best cartoonist in the world. He lives in, I think he lives in Cork, Ireland. I think he probably works for Cartoon Saloon a bit. But best cartoonist in the world. Had great fucking designs. I just wanted to draw like him. Still do. I want to be Mick Harrison when I grow up. Anyways, I took one of his concepts called Shadow Boy. We fucking loved it. We worked hard on it, man. Little demo and got all the guys in the house to do all the voices and stuff. It was so cool. And we took it to see a development officer at executive at YTV. His name is David Weeb, and he's bounced around. I think he did great work with Hasbro or one of the big fucking toy company or something like that. But David looked at the content or at the show pitch because I was on fire. I thought it was great, and I worked hard. Like fuck, I worked like a demon to be good at it. And he looked at the show. He goes, "Fucking drawing's great. You know, everything looks really sexy and stuff. What's what's your message? Like, it's really fun. Like, what's your message to the kids, right?" And I was like, I couldn't tell him. And I was like, it's just supposed to be a fucking fun cartoon, man. Isn't that that's something we're supposed to be doing? Like, I understood there was plots and stuff. We'll figure that out later as we go. But like, I didn't really have anything to say other than look at this fucking show. It's gonna be fucking great. And it was like, yeah, there's no message. You know, it's called programming for a reason. You know, so go find a message and bring me shows that have something to say. And I took that right into the fucking heart. And he was right. Zucker was right. And so that's when I decided, I need to know children. I need to know kids. I need to raise children and be present. And so the studio crumbled about 2 years later. Fatkat did, and at the time I was like, again, do I want to have another big fucking shop, or do I want my kid to know who I am? And so I said, from now on, no more salespeople, no more fucking accountants. I'm just going to get a good bookkeeper and I'm going to do all the work myself. Jess is by my side. She's got things. I know she does, with a couple great supervisors and a couple of fucking awesome animators. We could do well. And I'm going to let whatever work finds me, that's the work I'm going to do. I'm not giving away tax credits or rebates. I'm going to roll it back into the community, roll it back into the staff, roll it back into opportunities that would not see the light of day because we're in fucking No Fundswick. Fucking ain't nothing happening out here, man, and it's hard. And if we're the only animation studio in the fucking province, we better invest in the profits. We better do a good job, you know. So that's where my heart is, you know. I hate the industry. Fuck, leave me the fuck alone. But and I don't do outsourcing. Like, oh, I mean, I'll take it if it shows up, but it just
Yeah.
doesn't show up. And it's probably because I don't play ball, or I'm insignificant, or I'm a dinosaur, or I'm still fucking using Flash to make cartoons. Maybe that's it. But if it ain't fucking broken, don't fix it.
It's crazy when you ask most people about the problems in the industry, they're going to say things like, uh, you know, AI or brain drain continuing to be problems, or things like that. But I mean, I think you really cut at much deeper, or the fact that we're dependent on government funding, or that
Well,
we let the government
yeah.
pay for things, but really we pay for it in a way that just kind of enables, I guess, lazy corporatism to kind of run amok.
Oh my
Uh,
god. Yeah.
it's just like our perceptions of the common perception of the problems are they're so off.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. It's
We're
much
so off
higher.
the mark.
It's so much higher.
Yeah.
People need to look at this whole fucking country from a 60,000 foot view, and
Yeah.
or at least the industry. But I mean, we are we are not a free country. We are run. We are firm, and we are run. Um, these regulatory bodies, we're all dependent on them. Who knows, man? Who knows? I'm just some crazy fucking old white guy in the woods.
What are your thoughts on streaming? How has streaming created opportunities for you or just made things worse?
Streaming. Okay, so I really haven't touched on the streaming thing. I saw the bubble come and I was like, okay, it's a fucking trend. It's just another fucking little spiral to stuff cash out of the fucking coffers into back into corporations and back into the coffers. Um, and being
And
catfish.
get away from regulation too. That's
Absolutely.
the big that's the big secret of streaming, is that you get away from that stuff.
Yeah. Right. But YouTube is still there. YouTube is still cranking. Still more popular. And I don't think there's any fucking regulatory shit on YouTube. I don't think, right? Are they
It's
are they even
complicated.
are they even considered a broadcaster? That's
I
funny.
I think I think they had said no. that YouTube was, but for music it can be if it's YouTube music. This was controversial.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. I can imagine a lot of money behind it, especially if it was deemed a broadcaster here in Canada, it would probably have grounds for being a broadcaster in other nations too. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really played in that world, man. I'd like to. I'd like to play in the streaming world, but it seems to me like really, um, there is a direct connection now, thanks to everybody having their phones and their screens. There's a direct connection between the end user and the actual people that are cranking out these fucking cartoons. And really, really, anybody who's good at it and crafts a fucking formula that wins and is and has the luck of the draw, I guess, or the luck of the algorithm, can reach the viewers directly. And we don't need broadcasters,
Yeah. Well,
So
your most recent projects, they've mostly been on like CBC or provincial broadcasters like TFO
yeah,
and stuff. That's really for the stuff that you guys have built, like or that you've been a showrunner on and have
yeah,
built from the ground up. That's kind of where that stuff has lived and been
that's
able
where the money's at.
to thrive.
That's where the guaranteed money is
Yeah.
in the old system, right? I'm part of the old guard, the old system. I'm not going to make it in the new system. Like me going directly to YouTube, I'm not going to fucking win.
Mhm.
I don't know what to make. Like I think I know what to make. But it's high stakes Vegas. The guy that's actually going to make it has a job at Subway right now, and he draws at night and has no children. You know, he's the guy that's going to make those hits, and that's the evolution of art. That's the evolution of where we are right now. Um, the old guard has to fucking disappear, and the new dudes come through. Um, I'd like to think I might make it, but yeah, I don't know.
Do you think being in Canada would hold someone back, or are there, or would you go as far as to say that, or do you think that like if an animator has the right drive, they can still make this shit happen?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so. It. I mean, shit. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere, and I plan on fucking making it.
yeah.
So, it should be all right. But uh, yeah, it's just the odds. You know, the odds. You got to put them in your favor by outworking talent. Like hard work beats talent every fucking time. Every fucking time. And people are distracted these days, and they're on their phones more, and they're consuming more. They're smoking fucking more dope because it's legal and it's cool, and something's weird with the world right now. And maybe it's just me, and you know what? It probably is.
All right. Well, Gene, thanks so much for coming on. Yeah, if people want to find more your stuff or learn more about Loogaroo, where can they go?
Yeah, Loogaroo's on Facebook. They got a Facebook page there, Loogaroo Animation, and then of course Loogaroo.com or Loogaroo.ca. You can find me on Instagram, again Loogaroo Animation, and I'm around. Me and Gene Fowler on Instagram, Gene Fowler on Facebook. You can always message me. I'm the guy who mans all the social media. I'm small. I keep it small, but I'm honest. And if you need me to look at something, or want to bid on something, or you need help around this thing or that thing, I'm always game to aid.
And thanks everyone for tuning into Zon N Canada. You can reach me on Blue Sky at jbetteridge, or email zonencanada@gmail.com. Our theme song's by Ultraclystron. You can find that on his album Packet Flood. You can find that at ultraclystron.com. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, all that stuff. And I'll see you again.